Well, good morning, and it is April the 3rd. Thank God we got April the 1st over. I really stuck my head in the sand on that day. Although a former friend of mine, no, he's still a friend of mine, Richard Gorbett, who now works in the United States, a very talented engineer or technician, let's put it that way, in television terms. In fact, a pioneer. That's why he's working in the States. He's so clever. His children managed to fool him by offering. He likes those sort of little lollipops that you can just pop into your mouth, and they managed to disguise a Brussels sprout and give it to him, and he fell for it. Wouldn't you wonder if your children actually came up with the lollipop and said, "Here, Dad"? Oh, never mind. That was a good one. I can remember that. One we used to pull in Northern Ireland on April the 1st is doing a feature piece on a pigeon, a gentleman who made crash helmets for pigeons, racing pigeons, so that when they hit anything as they were flying along blind, they wouldn't injure themselves. They're a good many that are a good leg pull. Still, we're over that, and we're through the weekend. Thank goodness. My goodness me, what a strange weekend it was. And we're here in the White Hart Hotel with Mirador Television, bringing you a quirky look at the news and trying to set straight all those things that are wrong. You believe that? You believe anything. But let's go to the headlines first of all, and it is the Times. The child abuse gangs are. One moment. Let's get the thing off to a good start, a proper start, shall we? The headline says child abuse gangs fed by political correctness, and I believe that there is a lot of truth in that. Our leaders have lost their way, and they get so anxious to please everybody and to make their mark on what really are silly things that we don't elect them to do this. But these gangs are not only worrying, they are frightening. And the Times looks as an announcement that the Prime Minister expected to make today is that he's going to tackle these grooming gangs head on. He's quoted as saying that political correctness has been to blame for failing to identify and stop abusers who prey on children. Well, yes, I mean, thank God there's something that has stirred them to action in Westminster. But also these people, these gangs who are partly supported by woke, there we are destructive on everything. They want to change the language. They want to pull down statues. They want to rewrite history. They want to rewrite novels. They want to rewrite literature. They rewrite everything, and it's all because they think it. They think it. I have no objection whatsoever to people having different thoughts about the way we live, our history, and so on and so forth, but put it into perspective. It isn't just about you, Mr. Wokes and Mrs. Wokes. It is not just about you. It's about our entire society and the integration thereof. And you are not doing it any help, giving it any help whatsoever, despite the fact that you are full of this. I am. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The Daily Express goes along with the same thing. Woke politics putting women at risk. And the Express is also saying the Prime Minister is expected to announce woke politics are putting women at risk, and that well, that's it. That it doesn't really go much deeper than that. The Daily Telegraph, our ethnicity of grooming gangs cannot be ignored, police told. In other words, this government is trying to pretend to get tough. I say pretend because their leaders are extremely smooth-tongued, slippery-tongued. Sunak gave 2 budgets in the House of Commons, and he it was applauded. It's wonderful, but when the analysis came, it was obvious that he was word spinning and had no substance. So I hope he's not word spinning now, and he says he's going to take on both these gangs and also the woke factor. The Telegraph picks up the grooming story, reporting that police have been ordered not to ignore the ethnicity of gangs with cultural sensitivities. It shouldn't be allowed to stand in the way of pursuing criminals. Now, Labour, of course, is up in the air, is dog whistle politics. And a report says that NASA will find out in 10 years whether it has found evidence of life on Mars. Well, there you go. There you go. We go a bit at a time in every direction. But most certainly, the woke situation is just totally out of control. Totally. Right. Okay. Now that the eye goes on a different tack is NHS mental health care. It faces a public inquiry after a family outcry. An investigation into NHS mental health described, taking a look at Essex as a case point, described as the largest mental health service in the United Kingdom, is expected to be upgraded to a full public inquiry. The probe into the deaths of 2,000 people in the county over 20 years has stalled, the paper says, and Health Secretary Steve Barclay is said to be in favour of an upgrade that would compel currency and former medics to give evidence. Well, there you go. There you go. The Guardian, NHS risks harming thousands of children. The front page of the Guardian says a senior doctor warns that thousands of children face lifelong health impacts amid long waits for NHS treatment. The paper's lead story looks at the impact of the nearly 15,000 pediatric operations that were postponed last year, an increase on the 2021 figure that has been highlighted by the Lib Dems. The Mirror. Guess who doesn't have to worry about energy bills, it says. And it is pointing at the Home Secretary. Yes, Suella Braverman. And it says the Daily Mirror has given her the Benefits Braverman as a new nickname. she is said to have claimed back nearly £25,000 in energy costs for her London home over 5 years. The paper acknowledges that this is within the rules, but is not in the spirit of them, according to a quote from a Liberal Democrat MP. A source close to Miss Braverman hits back, saying the minister has saved the taxpayer thousands by not resting at home in her constituency and instead staying with her parents. Now, I have argued for a long time about the benefits and the perks that MPs get, which are ridiculous, in fact, they're obscene. I think that with one single stroke of the pen, if they really wanted to do something about it, it would be easy enough. And that is that MPs just claim expenses the way that we do for NHS, the Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC, and that they subjected to those rules. Then it makes it quite simple. No patronage. You get a subsidised meal, that's fine, but what you do is you have to declare it as an income. Now, that to me, it is easy to solve this. To the politicians, is oh dear me, anything that takes stuff out of our pockets is not to be considered. The Sun says there's a £250,000 contract out on the guy who killed the young girl in Liverpool. Apparently, he's very, very big in the drug lord arena, and they're all afraid he's going to spill the beans. So he's got a hit out on him. The Financial Times, oil producers are going to cut their output. Now, what that means is that if they cut their output, it makes oil scarcity, as it were, and it takes some of it out of the market. And then, by nature, the price goes up. And the Saudis are the biggest oil producer, and they're going to make it scarcer on the market. And the FT leads with a decision by Saudi Arabia and other major oil-producing countries, presumably it's OPEC, which is the Oil Producers and Exporters Association, or a set of countries. They're going to make surprise cuts to production. The move is set within the context of geopolitical turmoil following the Russian invasion of Ukraine and recent anxiety in global financial markets. Speculating what comes next, the paper says the money move will be a rare U.S. Initiative to show that everybody's behind trying to get this issue right. The Easter holiday delays, yes, I'm afraid we're going to have rather more delays than we expect. It's become the norm, hasn't it now? People want to get away. You go down to the ferry is on strike, so you have to wait and go via another method, and so on and so forth. I think that there's one group of people or several groups of people together jointly who like to make the rest of us miserable. Probably because they're miserable bloody sods. But that's... the unions really are not thinking much about anybody except themselves. The Millions of drivers are stuck. This is which paper is this? This is the Daily Mail. Millions of drivers are stuck in parking app hell. Oh yes, I can go along with this. I'm not a driver anymore, but I've watched people fumbling with their bloody phones, having to get the right combination. Now, I'm going to come back to this in a moment because is our leaders who ponce around are trying to tell us just how well they're doing, and not averse to going along with this parking fiasco. But before we go back to that, a jealous psycho chatbot, says the Daily Star. It says that a man was told by AI technology to split up with his partner. I love you, terminate marriage, reads the headline, alongside a sci-fi inspired image. A decision announced late on Sunday by Chelsea FC that's about sacking manager Graham Potts, who's formerly the Seagulls, but she's regretted leaving there. Okay, let's go back. No, let's not. Let's just do a double check on what we might find. Locally on all right, Canberra Sands car parking. If you go down there, the local council there is going to charge up to £30 at one car park. I mean, how ridiculous can you get? I mean, talk about spoiling a day out. On one hand, get healthy, get outdoors, and so on and so forth. By the way, if you do, we're going to ding you 30 quid. What's that one? Here we go. The BBC announces end of the popular show after 5 series. Well, what's it going to? What's it calculating? Let's see which show is going. They look at they look at this country estate and upgrade it, and apparently it's become a very, very popular show. Yeah, I can't get too excited about that. Aha, Amazon, right? Which most of us, one way or another, use, whether we want to or not, are going to have a summer of chaos after the Amazon workers have announced more strikes amid a summer of chaos. So if you buy off Amazon, be prepared for it's all going tits up, to put it bluntly. Let's see. Exact date of the first 3 appointments coming this year is to help people. Exact date of cost of living payments coming in early in 20. Right, read the full story here. What's he got to say about that? It's coming within weeks, as the DWP sets the exact date, and the Department for Works and Pensions has revealed the exact date the first cost of living payment of 2023 will be made, after previously saying it would be spring. Quote, the payment of 301 is the first of 3 to be made to millions of people across the UK this year. The money will appear in the bank accounts of people who claim certain benefits, including universal credit, job seekers allowance, employment and support allowances, income support, working tax credit, child tax credit, and so on. Is the payment will show in your account as DWP COLP with your national insurance number. The next 2 payments will come in autumn and then towards the start of 2024. After that, it will be paid between April the 25th and May the 17th. Well, there we go. Yes, they have given All right. Now, it is about time. I'm on the warpath over local elections. First of all, I keep on seeing and getting stuff from all these people who, in my view, are lightweights, who are in local politics. We did this, and this is what we can do. Well, first of all, that my question is, apparently Lewis is the third highest council tax hike in the country. Ours, we will be paying the third largest council tax. How come? Secondly, you continue to move everything to Eastbourne. How come? Surely even Heritage would say that we got to leave a fair amount of authority in our town so we can see what we do. But no, they continue to fart around. And all these people who are right now busy sending out posters about their own vote for me, I'm absolutely wonderful, are the same people that actually have taken the deliberate step to only deal with online stuff. The way that we get information about our council now is online. Now, their own statistics, and I keep pointing this out, their own statistics show that 50% of the people in Lewis District, that's about 100,000 people, 50% are over 50. Right? Over 50. Work that back to when the internet first started Windows started, so that we could talk to one another on the internet. And that was 1993, or thereabouts, 93 or 94. So you work it out. There are still a whole host of people who were not born in the internet age, for whom they may have mastered simple computer techniques, but all the quirkiness of if you do this, you get that, and so on and so forth, has not filtered through to them, and I'm one of them. And then these are the people who at the moment are sending out in print, in text. This is how wonderful we are. When they're in power, decide, oh, we'll only do it via the internet. How stupid. These are the people who actually want us to vote for them as leaders. Oh, that's so many people are sucked in. Oh, yeah, they're wonderful. The wonderful Mr., the wonderful Mrs. They're not. They're not. And the sooner we start to really look at what they say and what they actually do and what they believe, the better. Because there is no examination of them at the moment. They themselves made sure of that. They are the people that watered down and eventually did away with local media, which always acted as a good, healthy watchdog. And they made sure that they got rid of that. So now they don't even believe what they're saying themselves. Oh, yes, we do these things. And the latest, of course, is that now the councils across the country, and I imagine this one is no different, are going to do away with putting money into a parking meter. You've got to do it by phone. That is downright dictatorship. Get your act together. Start to think about the people that you represent. Because you're not. You're so busy doing your party political broadcast and pushing all that nonsense, all that rubbish, which you'll never implement. You didn't in the last 4 years. And we've still got this iniquitous system of a cabinet. So most of the councillors don't get a say anyway. You have done nothing. You've done nothing in the past 4 years except pounce around, make ridiculous statements, and achieve nothing. And those things that you have said that you've achieved is all wobbly gook, because you haven't. What you've done is you've used words. As Stuart Dolby points out, you keep on saying what you're doing for electric points. Well, you haven't. And you've used silly statistics. This is what we're going to do. Oh, we'll do this very quickly. Yeah. And then when it eventually comes in, it's a contract that you handed to somebody over a 15-year period. How daft is that? How daft is that? It is time that we got people in authority. I say authority, not power. In authority who can actually do something instead of the lot we've got at the moment who are useless, completely useless. Oh, the stuff that you get in through your mailbox will tell you, oh, what a wonderful story. Oh, and here we are with posters. Here we are trying to stop the bus. There was a very simple solution, which I kept on pointing out to people, to stop what was happening with the bus station. Did anybody listen? No, because it didn't fit in to their political dogma. And not only that, I don't think that they understand. They do not understand corporate social responsibility. And that's the first thing that should disqualify them from holding office. Don't get me going. But you have got me going, haven't you? And it's 8:57. What a lovely way to start a Monday morning. What a lovely way to start a Monday morning. With councils around the country now making it impossible to use a parking meter because you need your phone to do it. We have on here a couple of times a week very seasoned journalists in New York. All the things that are happening because of the online mania that this country is going through aren't happening elsewhere. In the United States, high street banks aren't being closed. In the United States, ATMs in rural areas are not being taken out. And in the United States, the younger folk, where here they would be woking and doing silly things like pulling down statues and burning books. The younger folk are fighting hard to make sure that currency, that coinage and paper notes, money, in other words, stays as part of a healthy mix of the way in which you pay bills and you carry out your personal finances. Any of those here? No. When did you last hear of a local councillor fighting to keep the banks open? And not just saying, hey, something should be done, it's doing something. If they actually put their heads together, they could. But no. Doesn't fit in with their political dogma. Too busy being green or not green or whatever. And it has got to stop. It is disappointing, to say the least. But what is sickening is them sending out stuff telling us all the things that they've done, when in fact they've done nothing. They couldn't even see how our spending, because they got a scrutiny committee, they couldn't even get that right. So the executive, based in Eastbourne, can do more or less anything they want, because there is no check by councillors. None. Oh, dear me. Why do we have elections? In fact, I fear for democracy, because in some ways, democracy is turning out to be an abject failure, both nationally and regionally and locally. What do we put in this place? I don't know. The only suggestion so far has been from, of all people, Boris Johnson, who said we need a root and branch review of local or our governance from top to bottom. In other words, from the House of Lords down to the parish councils. As he said, they're not fit for purpose, and they're not. It's time something was done. Now, I'm not saying that all the people who are running for office in the local elections on May the 4th, I think it is, are useless. They're some very bright people. It's the system that they seem to hug to their breasts that is broken. And until somebody is prepared to take a look at that and reform that, we are in major, major social evil trouble. Ah, it's 9:01. I've gone over. Never mind. Right, we'll be back in half an hour with some less controversial stuff, some nice, gentle stuff, and to tell you what's going to happen in the rest of this month on Mirador. So for the moment, toodle-pip.